Dubai, a city that rose from sand to sky, where glass towers shimmer like mirages under the relentless Arabian sun. Once a small fishing port, now it's a playground for billionaires, a symbol of what humanity can build when it refuses to accept limits. But beneath that shining skyline, something is quietly breaking. The truth is, Dubai's miracle was never just about wealth. It was about illusion, a perfect image sold to the world, crafted with precision and power. Behind every record-breaking tower lies a mountain of debt. Behind every luxury car, a desperate attempt to maintain the fantasy. This city doesn't just build, it performs, feeding on global admiration and investment to survive. Yet the cracks are starting to show. The ocean creeps closer, the air grows hotter, and the money that once flooded its streets is beginning to vanish. Economists call it a correction. But to those who live there, it feels like something far greater, a reckoning. Because the question is no longer how high Dubai can rise, but how long before the illusion fades. And when it does, what will be left beneath the glittering sand? Dubai sells the image of endless prosperity, a city where money never sleeps and the impossible becomes reality. But the truth behind that image is far less glamorous. Oil, the foundation that once powered its rise, now makes up less than 1% of its GDP. The real fuel of Dubai's economy is perception, the belief that success here never stops. Its skyscrapers, luxury malls, and private islands aren't just landmarks. They're advertisements, designed to attract global investors, tourists, and dreamers. Every tower is built not for those who live in Dubai, but for those who believe in it from afar. And for years, that belief paid off. Billions poured in from every corner of the world, chasing profits, status, and prestige. But illusions require constant maintenance. When global investment slows, the facade begins to crack. Tourism dips, trade weakens, and construction halts. The city that depends on foreign attention starts to struggle the moment the world looks away. Dubai's real strength isn't its wealth. It's its ability to convince the world that it still has it. But how long can an economy survive on image alone? When the mirage fades, will the world finally see the desert underneath? For decades, Dubai's skyline has been its crown jewel, a forest of glass and steel rising from the desert like a monument to human ambition. The Burj Khalifa, soaring higher than any structure on Earth, became a symbol of limitless progress. But what few realize is that every meter of that tower represents billions in borrowed money. A masterpiece built not just on engineering, but on debt. Developers raced to outshine one another, building higher, faster, grander. Apartments sold before foundations were poured. Entire projects existed only on blueprints, traded like lottery tickets. It wasn't just construction. It was speculation turned into spectacle. But as the global economy shifted, demand began to vanish. The buyers stopped coming. Today, countless skyscrapers stand half-empty, monuments to overconfidence. Some remain unfinished, frozen in time. Others operate at a loss, their glittering facades hiding the silence within. Dubai's obsession with height became its own trap, a competition it could never win. Because the higher it climbed, the deeper the debt below. The towers still shine in the sunlight, but their shadow tells another story, one of ambition outpacing reality, and that shadow is spreading across the desert. Behind Dubai's glittering skyline lies a secret the city rarely admits. Debt. Massive, unrelenting debt. The rise of this desert empire was financed not by infinite oil wealth, but by endless borrowing. The luxury, the infrastructure, the global image, all paid for through loans that stretch far beyond the horizon. When the 2008 global financial crisis struck, Dubai's fragile empire nearly shattered overnight. Projects stopped, investors fled, and panic filled the air. The world watched as Dubai teetered on the edge of collapse, until Abu Dhabi, its oil-rich neighbor, stepped in with a $20 billion bailout. That rescue kept the lights on, but it came with an unspoken cost: dependence. Even today, Dubai walks a tightrope. Billions are still owed, much of it hidden behind corporate shells and government-linked companies. Every new project, every glamorous announcement, often masks another layer of borrowing. Analysts warn that one global downturn could trigger another collapse, one that even Abu Dhabi might not save. Dubai's empire was built faster than any in modern history, but speed demands sacrifice, and debt is the price of its ambition. The question now isn't how high Dubai can rise, but how long before the weight of its dreams drags it back down. Behind the shimmering towers and spotless streets of Dubai lies a truth the city rarely allows the world to see: the millions of migrant workers who built it. They come from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and beyond, chasing the promise of opportunity. But what they find is often something else entirely. These men live on the outskirts of the city, in labor camps far from the glowing skyline they helped create. Many work 12-hour days under 50-degree C heat, for wages that barely cover survival. Their passports are often confiscated by employers, trapping them in a system they cannot escape. To the world, Dubai is a city of miracles. To them, it is a city of endurance. The irony is haunting. The workers who built the world's tallest tower cannot afford to enter it. The same hands that laid its foundations now live in silence, unseen and unheard. Their suffering is the invisible cost of Dubai's perfection. While tourists admire the skyline and investors celebrate growth, a silent army labors in the background, nameless, voiceless, and forgotten. And their story is the one Dubai would rather the world never tell. When Dubai announced it would build islands shaped like palm trees and even a miniature world map, the planet watched in awe. It was an engineering miracle. Land made from nothing but sand and ambition. The Palm Jumeirah, the world islands, symbols of ultimate luxury and control over nature itself. But today, many of these artificial wonders are crumbling back into the sea they once defied. The World Islands Project, designed to resemble the continents of Earth, was once sold to billionaires as the most exclusive real estate on the planet. But satellite images reveal a haunting truth. Most of it lies deserted, eroding, sinking inch by inch. Without constant maintenance, the waters of the Arabian Gulf are slowly reclaiming the land. Even the iconic Palm Islands face the same fate. Shorelines erode, water stagnates, and marine life disappears. Environmental experts warn that these projects have disrupted natural water currents, damaging the coastline for miles. What was once Dubai's proudest display of wealth is now a silent warning. Nature always takes back what is stolen. The islands that symbolized human dominance are now reminders of how fragile that illusion truly is. In its pursuit to build paradise in the desert, Dubai may have unknowingly created a climate nightmare. During summer, temperatures can soar beyond 50 degrees Celsius, hotter than the Sahara Desert itself. Streets become unbearable by noon, and the air feels like a furnace. The city's shimmering skyline hides a brutal truth. Survival here depends entirely on machines. Every breath of cool air is powered by electricity. Every drop of water comes from the sea, stripped of salt through energy-hungry desalination plants. These systems keep the illusion alive, a city thriving in a place where nature never intended it to exist. But the cost is staggering. Dubai's per capita carbon footprint ranks among the highest in the world. And as climate change accelerates, even that technology may not be enough. Rising sea levels threaten its coastlines. Power grids strain under extreme demand. The city that once conquered nature is now at war with it. Ironically, the same desert that Dubai tried to escape is now closing in again, in heat, in sand, in silence. The question isn't whether Dubai can stay cool, but how long it can fight against a climate it was never built to survive. For years, Dubai's real estate market was the heartbeat of its economy, a golden promise that anyone could profit just by buying in. The ads showed paradise, luxury apartments, man-made islands, and endless prosperity. Investors from London, Mumbai, and Shanghai rushed to own a piece of the desert dream. But behind that glittering promise was something far more fragile. Speculation built on sand. Developers sold apartments before even pouring foundations. Prices doubled overnight, driven not by demand, but by hype. When global markets slowed, the illusion shattered. Property values plummeted by more than 40%, and countless projects froze mid-construction. Some of these half-finished towers still stand today, silent monuments to vanished money. Even after recovery efforts, the scars remain. Analysts warn that the same pattern is repeating: oversupply, inflated prices, and foreign dependence. The dream of endless growth has become a cycle of collapse and reinvention. Dubai built its identity on the promise that the next project would always be bigger, richer, and brighter. But how long can that illusion hold? When there's no one left to buy the dream, even the tallest tower becomes nothing more than an empty shell in the sand. There was a time when foreign investors poured billions into Dubai without hesitation. Russian oligarchs, British magnates, Indian tycoons, all sought refuge in the desert city where money moved faster than time itself. Dubai became a haven for those who wanted to multiply wealth or hide it. But now, the tide is shifting. Since global financial crackdowns and rising scrutiny over offshore assets, the once open doors of Dubai's real estate market have begun to creak. International investors, once the backbone of Dubai's explosive growth, are quietly pulling back. Some fear overregulation, others fear exposure. And as regional conflicts and sanctions tighten, Dubai's role as a financial sanctuary grows uncertain. Empty skyscrapers and unsold apartments hint at the new reality. Demand is fading. The golden investors who once shaped Dubai's skyline are vanishing, taking their fortunes elsewhere. Even the wealthy elites who remain are becoming cautious, choosing stability over spectacle. The truth is, Dubai's glitter was never built on permanence. It thrived on momentum, on constant inflow. And now, as that flow slows, the city faces its most uncomfortable question. What happens when the world stops believing in its promise? Beneath Dubai's golden skyline lies a number few dare to speak aloud: its debt. While the city's leaders present a picture of unstoppable progress, financial analysts tell another story. One of mounting loans, silent bailouts, and staggering obligations hidden behind state-owned corporations. In 2009, the world caught its first glimpse of this secret. Dubai World, one of the city's largest government-linked companies, nearly defaulted on $26 billion debt. Panic rippled through global markets. Construction stopped overnight. Investors fled. The crisis only ended when Abu Dhabi stepped in with an emergency $10 billion lifeline. But even after recovery, the pattern continued. To keep expanding, Dubai borrowed more, funding new towers, airports, and mega projects, each built on the assumption that tomorrow's revenue would cover today's debt. Yet as tourism slows, global trade weakens, and energy costs rise, that promise grows harder to keep. Dubai's success has always relied on confidence, the belief that money will keep flowing. But debt is a silent predator. It doesn't strike quickly. It waits. And when it does, Even the tallest city in the desert can find itself buried under the weight of its own ambitions. Many believe Dubai's fortune comes from endless oil, but that's a myth. In truth, oil accounts for less than 1% of its GDP today. Unlike Abu Dhabi, which holds the UAE's massive oil reserves, Dubai's wells ran dry decades ago. What built Dubai wasn't crude oil. It was perception, investment, and risk. This misunderstanding became one of Dubai's greatest weapons. The world saw a city drenched in oil wealth, so investors assumed it was stable, a safe bet in a volatile region. But the reality was far different. Dubai's rise depended on construction, tourism, and real estate, industries that collapse the moment global confidence wavers. When the 2008 financial crash hit, Dubai's oil-backed illusion evaporated overnight. Without constant capital inflows, the city's economic engine stalled. And even now, as global energy markets shift toward renewables, that illusion remains a dangerous crutch. The irony is striking. A city famed for wealth that doesn't exist in the ground, but in the imagination of those who believe it. Dubai doesn't run on oil anymore. It runs on belief. And belief is the most fragile fuel of all. Dubai proudly calls itself a global city, home to over 200 nationalities. But behind the glamorous facade lies a harsh reality for the millions who built it. Most of Dubai's population are expats, yet few ever belong. The promise is simple: high salaries, tax-free living, and luxury. But once you arrive, the rules change. Every visa is tied to employment. Lose your job, and you lose your right to stay. Overnight, thousands of workers can find themselves stateless, forced to leave behind homes, cars, and unpaid salaries. In construction camps, men from South Asia live in overcrowded conditions, working long hours in blistering heat. Many earn less than $300 a month building towers they'll never step inside. Even white-collar expats face a quiet anxiety, constant fear of layoffs, rising costs, and strict financial laws. Missing a single loan payment can lead to jail time, not negotiation. There's no safety net, no citizenship, no permanence. Dubai sells the dream of freedom, but for many, it's a golden cage. One where the key is always held by someone else. And once the illusion fades, they realize the truth. The city never belonged to them. It only rented their time. Every skyscraper, every shopping mall, every marble floor in Dubai was built by hands the world rarely sees. Behind the glamour lies an invisible workforce. Men who left their families thousands of miles away, trading hope for hardship. They come from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal, chasing the promise of better pay. But once they arrive, passports are often taken, contracts changed, and dreams vanish in the heat. Many live in cramped labor camps far from the glittering city center, surviving on plain rice and shared rooms with 10 others. While tourists sip coffee in air-conditioned towers, these workers labor under 50-degree C heat. For every record-breaking building, there are untold injuries, unpaid wages, and silent tears. Labor laws exist, but enforcement is weak. Complaints can mean deportation. Their contribution is monumental, yet their recognition is non-existent. Dubai's skyline shines, but their lives remain in shadow. They built paradise for others, never for themselves. And as the world admires the city's perfection, few realize that its foundations are not just concrete and steel. They're the sacrifices of millions who remain unseen, unheard, and uncelebrated. They were once called the eighth wonder of the world, the Palm Islands and the World Archipelago, artificial marvels sculpted from the sea. These man-made paradises were supposed to redefine luxury and show mankind's dominance over nature. But today, they tell a different story. From the sky, the world islands look breathtaking. But on the ground, many of them are empty, unfinished, or eroding. Construction halted, investors vanished, and nature began reclaiming what was once its own. Engineers have warned that parts of these islands are slowly sinking, the ocean quietly undoing years of human ambition. Sand dredging disrupted marine life. Coral reefs were buried, fish disappeared. The turquoise waters turned murky and lifeless. What was once hailed as progress has become a warning of arrogance. Some investors who paid millions now own nothing but sand and silence. Even the Palm Jebel Ali, once planned to be twice the size of Palm Jumeirah, stands half-built. A ghost project of dreams gone still. Dubai tried to conquer the sea, but the sea never forgot its power. The Vanishing Islands are not just a failure of engineering, they're symbols of how easily nature humbles even the richest ambitions. Dubai was designed to defy the desert, a city of glass and steel rising where nothing should have survived. But in doing so, it may have triggered its own climate curse. Summers here are brutal. Temperatures can reach above 50 degrees, hotter than the Sahara Desert. Streets empty, workers vanish indoors, and life becomes dependent on machines. Every drop of water is pulled from the sea through energy-hungry desalination plants. Every cool breeze is artificial, powered by endless air conditioning. The city that dreamed of eternal comfort is now trapped in its own heat. Each new skyscraper reflects sunlight back into the streets, amplifying the temperature. Cars idle endlessly in traffic, spewing exhaust into air that barely moves. The cost of maintaining this illusion of paradise grows higher every year. And the irony is painful. In a world racing to fight climate change, Dubai's survival still depends on fossil fuels and excess consumption. The desert it once conquered is now reclaiming its price. If temperatures continue to rise, parts of Dubai could become unlivable. The Golden City may not drown in debt or sink into the sea. It could simply melt under its own ambition. Since their golden years, and many foreign owners quietly abandoned their investments, unable to recover their money. The city's obsession with bigger, taller, and flashier became its own trap. Developers kept building, even when demand vanished, hoping image alone would bring back buyers. But image doesn't pay the bills. The real estate boom that once built Dubai's legend has become its greatest illusion. A glittering mirage fading under the weight of reality. And yet, new projects still rise from the sand, as if the lesson was never learned. Dubai's skyline was built on dreams, towers rising faster than logic, each promising wealth beyond imagination. But behind the glass and glitter lies a truth the world rarely sees. A real estate empire built on speculation, not stability. At its peak, apartments were sold before construction even began. Investors from London to Mumbai poured money into blueprints, betting on Dubai's endless rise. But when the markets turned, thousands of projects froze mid-air. The cranes stopped, the workers disappeared, and what remained were ghost towers. Silent reminders of overconfidence. Entire neighborhoods now stand half-empty. Property values have plummeted. Dubai's story isn't just about buildings or money. It's about ambition, illusion, and consequence. The city rose from nothing, faster than any other in human history. It defied nature, economics, and even logic itself. But every dream, no matter how grand, carries a cost. The towers still shimmer in the sun, but the cracks are growing harder to hide. The same ambition that built Dubai's empire is now testing its survival. The islands sink, the investors vanish, the workers remain in silence, and the golden city that once promised paradise now faces the question it's avoided for decades. What happens when the illusion fades? Maybe Dubai will reinvent itself again, as it always has. Or maybe, one day, the desert will reclaim what was borrowed, quietly, grain by grain. Because history has shown one truth, time and again. No empire, no matter how rich, can escape the laws of reality. Beneath the luxury, beyond the lights, and behind the shimmering skyline, the collapse isn't coming. It's already begun.